Yesterday, Donald Trump signed executive orders to give reciprocal tariffs on all countries, and on today's update video, I'm gonna be exactly discuss what this means for the Bitcoin price on the imminent short term, how this could be affecting the markets on the bigger perspective, and much more important analysis on Bitcoin right now here. So without any further ado guys, on today's video, I'm gonna be diving in towards the most important charts that are telling us something about what currently is happening. So don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes. It will be highly appreciated, and let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So ever since Trump started to talk yesterday, the market dumped quite heavily on the news that was actually already expected. So, I mean, yesterday I watched it live, I streamed it on the channel, and all the things he said was actually already expected. We got a list with all the countries and all the tariffs that are implemented on those countries. And what is very important to know here is that all these tariffs are reciprocal. So that means that whenever, let's say, these other countries are going to lower their tariffs, so let's say now the European Union is asking like 39% tariffs on the US, and if they drop it to 0%, the US will do the same here. So ultimately, that would be great for free trade. So if this is right now going to be happening, if we're going to start to see all these countries drop their tariffs, it is ultimately, of course, going to be very great, because then Donald Trump is also going to dump, because then Donald Trump is also going to, of course, lower his tariffs, and then, of course, we can start to see a relief happening in the market. So that is the expectation I am having. I think a lot of countries are going to be lowering the tariffs on the United States, because as of tonight here, we already start to see that Thailand is negotiating with the United States of America to, of course, lower the taxes, lower the tariffs. So that is, of course, very great here, and all these tariffs are already in effect here. So quite a lot of things happened, of course, and due to this, the market dumped ever so slightly towards the downside. In the end of the day, it was already priced in here, and ultimately, if we're going to see some countries dropping their tariffs, I think it's going to cause a major relief in the stock market, but also, of course, on Bitcoin. So still, if I'm looking at Bitcoin on the 12-hour time frame, we're in this major consolidation phase right here, consolidating around that 88,000 towards 78,000 US dollar range. I mean, we got exactly rejected from the top side of this region, which was, of course, the 88,000 US dollars. I talked about it many times before here. I mean, we're currently also still in this major symmetrical triangle, creating a downward sloping resist line, an upward sloping support line, and basically whenever we're going to be squeezing outside of this pattern right here is where we're going to be seeing that big breakout really emerge here. So yeah, I'm expecting it's still going to be happening in the coming days here. We got rejected from the downward sloping trend line once again here, but ultimately if we do break above it, we're going to see a big continuation higher, and ultimately if we break the upward sloping support line, we're just going to see another big move towards the downside. And of course, right now in the imminent short term, while Bitcoin had another slight little correction, the funding rates remain to be extremely negative, and especially also on altcoins. So yes, while we're sitting in this consolidation phase, everyone apparently thinks the market is going to dump lower, but like we have learned from history, and this is something I want you to take just very seriously right now here, every single time whenever the funding rates go negative, it has marked historically a bottom. And I mean, the market is in extreme fear right now, and that is why I do really like these market conditions. And for me, it is going to be just all about the symmetrical triangle and whether we're going to be breaking resistance or support for Bitcoin. So yes, like I discussed on yesterday's video on the stream many times before here, for me it's all about this consolidation phase from the range high and the range low. And I do think that whenever we break above the range high or the range low, of course, that is going to give us the continuation towards either the upside or either towards the downside. So it's as simple as that right now here. Bitcoin on the weekly time frame still trading in a major uptrend, holding the trend line. Very, very great in my opinion. If we do break this trend line and of course break below the range low in the market, I do think the next realistic target of support is going to be 71,000 US dollars, which is of course that major level of previous resistance. So yeah, that is exactly the level that I'm going to be looking at very closely. Then yesterday we did saw actually some very exciting inflows again on the spot Bitcoin ETF, with ARK buying over $130 million, with Fidelity also buying over $180 million, and totaling an inflow of about 218 million US dollars, guys, which is of course quite a great day on the spot Bitcoin ETF here. Then I rebalanced my trades here. I took some profit on my hyperliquid trade here. I added my profit back in towards my trade again here. And now you can see, so now we're just slowly, of course, accumulating bigger positions around these lows in the market. Because ultimately, I do think, of course, this was all the worst news we could have got here. This is literally the worst it will get here. I think that Donald Trump is not really going to be implementing more tariffs. It can only get better right now from off this point here. So that is just a very great thing here. And honestly, the market apparently already priced in these tariffs. So yeah, we're not really seeing all too much volatility from off this point onwards. So yeah, if you believe in the 4-year cycle, like I said in many videos before, historically, we should still have a great 2025. And if I'm looking at many of these other signals, we're right now 274 days after the Bitcoin halving. And yeah, historically, the Bitcoin top emerges somewhere around 475 days after the Bitcoin halving. So that is just very great and interesting data. Right now as well, on the bigger perspective, we're seeing somewhat of a triple bottom, an inverse head and shoulder structure getting created on Bitcoin. You can clearly see it. So we create a low right here, then a lower low right here, and now we're creating the high low. So if Bitcoin can right now start to, of course, create a bottom from off this point and move higher, we're going to be creating an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is obviously going to be looking very great here. And of course, on that weekly time frame, we're also starting to see the hash ribbons giving us a buy signal. And then quickly giving some coverage about Ethereum. If we're going to be looking at Trump, his crypto portfolio, it's 92% based on the Ethereum blockchain. And yeah, so far BlackRock has accumulated over $2.3 billion worth of Ethereum, which is of course quite insane here, while Ethereum is sitting at this major legendary support line. I mean, I think it's quite undervalued. We can see that right now as well. We're creating a major daily bullish divergence, which in my opinion is quite an interesting signal, which I'm definitely not fading, because the last time this signaled was all the way back in August/September. And of course, after that, we did saw a push towards $4,300 again here. So extremely excited about Ethereum. I think honestly it's quite oversold. No one really likes it. And of course, if you do follow the news here, likely soon here, staking is going to get allowed on the ETF here. And ultimately that is going to cause major flows to come back in towards Ethereum, because the Ethereum spot ETF hasn't been strong yet here, but I do think it is going to return very strongly soon here. So extremely excited for that here. Looking forward towards that as well here. But anyways, guys, this was it for me in today's update video. There's not been a lot happening on the market, but anyways, this is really what we have right now here. So it's going to be important to watch what other countries are going to say here today on the US tariffs announcement. But anyways, I'm going to keep you guys up to date on Twitter. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.